Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeff Malinoff, and with me, as always, is Mark Souza. Got a bit to talk about in the world of football. Not NFL talk mainly, but it's actually American Alliance Football.
Of America.
Of America. In reality, it's the Alliance of American Football. I get it. But I just have to correct myself because I don't want people criticizing, he doesn't know the name of it. I know the name of it. Anyways,
they're going to be like, who's this hack? He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah, football. I mean, you use the ball to kick into the basket, right?
Oh, yeah. That sport that's named incorrectly.
It's true. But anyways, moving on.
You hardly touch the ball with your foot in this game.
There's only two players in the team that do that.
It should be called throw ball.
I think handball.
That's a sport.
I know, but just take that name too. Why?
No.
Well, soccer was just called football anyways, so why not just take it from another name?
You want to know something crazy?
What?
English people called soccer, not Americans.
Really?
We get made fun of for it.
Wait, they came up with the term soccer?
Yes.
Oh, I thought we came up with the term.
No, and I'll tell you the history. This is actually very interesting because football fans out there probably might want to use this as a, did you know when you're hanging out with your buddies sometimes.
Your England buddies.
The reason is that in England, football was what they called soccer and rugby. Okay? The difference is they called soccer association football. They used it, they said association football. That was the game that we know today as soccer, where you kick the ball. Football for them is rugby, is what mostly identifies with what we call football, okay? So association is where they got the term soccer. Look at how association is spelled. Association soccer. That's exactly how soccer came about. They started calling it soccer, so they didn't have to say association football every time to differentiate between association football and football. And that's where soccer came from. Yet they don't use it anymore. They call rugby. They call football soccer. They call soccer football. But now we call it soccer because that's what we were told it was called.
Mm-hmm.
We still call it that.
But why do we call football?
That I don't know.
Like, I know the guy. I want to know. The guy invented it. Was like, was there more kicking in the sport than it is today?
I don't believe so, but I know that there wasn't any throwing, right? Like back in football,
there was no forward pass.
It was
so technically, running. It should not have been called throw ball either.
Well, no, you know what? I think we might have just answered our own question because football basically was rugby.
Yeah.
Before the
So
forward pass,
they used
right?
more kicking, obviously. Okay. They had to. Anyways, we got really off topic. Anyways, we're going to talk about the Alliance of American Football, handball, rough ball.
Anyways, we got way off topic.
Yeah. And we'll also talk about how Colin Kaepernick wants his demands for the AAF. And as well, we'll talk about some free agent moves, such as Brandon Marshall.
Speaking of America, we'll talk Colin Kaepernick when we return. Politics, man. You gotta love them.
Way to put politics into a sports show.
Hey, man, it's politics. It is. We can talk politics without being political. You can do that.
Yeah. Anyways, we're also going to talk about Brandon Marshall being released from the Broncos and how that will be an impact on that team, as well as where he should end up next. And we can also talk about the next week 2 games of the AAF as well, because that's coming up.
We'll talk about also the speculation of Adam Silver possibly replacing Roger Goodell as commissioner of the NFL.
What every football fan wants, because Roger Goodell is public enemy number 1.
And everybody likes Adam Silver, don't they?
He doesn't open his mouth a lot. He doesn't find people unnecessarily.
He just sounds like intelligent and like sound. Where like Goodell, like he just puts his foot in his mouth when he
absolutely. And also he makes ridiculous fines, and these suspensions have been very criticized.
We should get
his ideas have been criticized.
We should get the Patriots clown Goodell shirts. You ever seen those?
I think someone was supposedly wearing one.
Patricia wore one, right?
That's
what he
right.
got in trouble for, or they said like, "Oh, that's not very."
Because he got
for a coach.
Yeah. Talk about people that are sensitive. Roger Goodell's pretty sensitive.
Yeah, maybe.
When he gets booed at the draft, he talks louder and louder, tries to oversee everything, doesn't let people boo.
The last story that I want to discuss at the end of our show is the NCAA sack leader not being allowed to participate at the NFL Combine. And we'll tell you why, and we'll tell you our thoughts on it. It's controversial, man.
We can do that on this. Well, since it's so controversial, we can do that in our second segment, and then go to Brandon Marshall after that.
Yeah, regardless, we'll figure it out. But let's start off with the AAF of A.
Colin Kaepernick has been contacted, as well as Tim Tebow, by the AAF. Tim Tebow said no. Obviously, he worries. He's focused on his baseball career and knows that the NFL...
Contacted to do what? To play?
Well, what else would they contact him to do?
I don't know. You just said contact. I was trying to clarify. If anybody didn't hear about this.
Well, Tim Tebow has been contacted to play football in the quarterback position in the AAF. He turned it down because I think he knows, we talked about this on the sports podcast, he's not thinking himself as a future NFL player. And most likely
he has a better future in baseball, if anything.
Yeah, and he's going to be a draw in baseball, so he'll get a big contract from the Mets in theory. And then now Colin Kaepernick's been offered that as well. But his demands are a lot higher than what they're paying their other players. Usually the players are getting $250,000 for 3 years, no guarantee. Mm-hmm. And that's $75,000 a year. And Kaepernick has asked for $20 million.
Yeah, he has reportedly. We don't know that to be true, but yes, that is what reports say, is that after the AAF contacted Colin Kaepernick, that him or his team or his group have demanded or asked, I don't know about demanded, but asked for $20 million salary to join the AAF and for him to play.
True. So there is a lot of people saying he's asking for way too much, or are you kidding me? He hasn't played in 3 years or 4 years, how long it's been. And it's understandable, those people on that side, but in reality, he's a draw. People are going to watch him play. Hate him or love him, he's going to be considered a top, he's a draw. Like I said, I don't think there's any question about that. That's why they're really looking for him, in all honesty. So,
yeah, man, he's certainly a draw. So, I mean, a lot of people are saying that, what Kaepernick is doing is dumb, or they're very critical of him demanding that much money. I don't even know if demand's the right word, right? Because he didn't approach them. They approached him. He said, sure, I'll play for this amount of money. So I wouldn't say demand, asked.
Well, the title in the show says demands, so we're going to say demands.
Yeah, but demand sounds like I'm only...
An ultimatum.
Yeah, like he was the one that approached them. Like they approached you. Like, sure, I'll play for you, but if you give me this amount of money, like that doesn't sound like a demand. That just sounds like
it's kind of a demand in theory.
Sure, I mean technically it can be. It just doesn't sound right. There's other ways to describe that. Like asked for $20 million.
Well, if he was asked and he didn't get it, he'd be like, okay, I can settle. Demands like this or I'm walking kind of scenario.
But he was approached.
True.
So he doesn't have to walk. He was already standing there, So,
well, it's not like they're in his home. He's on the street, so he can walk away, go across the street.
I know we're splitting hairs here, but demand is like a silly word. Like if you were writing an article and you wrote demand, like yes, you're probably doing it to get some clicks, but it's stupid. It's just illogical at this point. So, anyways, he wants $20 million reportedly. We don't even know if that's true.
Yeah.
But a lot of harsh reactions coming in. Do you think he should play for less than that?
Well, how much less are we thinking here?
I don't know, $75,000 like everybody else, I guess.
Maybe, but again, he has a lot to lose in this scenario.
Yeah.
Because if he plays good, no one's going to take him seriously because it's against AAF players, not NFL players. And if he doesn't do well, then people are like getting what's the word I'm looking for? Then verified that he's not ready for the NFL again. And I think he should wait for an opportunity to get back into the NFL, because I think sooner or later he will be back in the NFL. Because look at the quarterbacks that are in the NFL right now. You could say he's better than a majority of them.
Yeah, he's
at least more successful.
I mean, Kaepernick is better than a good number of NFL starting quarterbacks. I wouldn't argue against that at all. Definitely not in the top 10 or anything like that, but he's somewhere near maybe the second.
Who are the teams that need a quarterback right now? Let's talk about that. Like the Giants could totally.
The New York Football Giants need a quarterback. The Washington Redskins need a quarterback. We talked about the Redskins too because they went out and signed Josh Johnson. And I think most of us would say that Kaepernick's probably better. And
people were like, why didn't you even consider Kaepernick, but you went with Josh flippin' Johnson? He did all right, no doubt about it. But, like, I'm sorry, I would have had Kaepernick over Josh Johnson just due to his success.
Mm-hmm.
He's played in the Super Bowl. Josh Johnson, not even close.
Yeah, Josh Johnson won his first professional or first NFL game of his career this year.
Yeah.
In like a career that spanned, he didn't play every single year, but it's like 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time since he's been a rookie, let's just say that. And there's honestly like almost no excuse for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like now I think it's just it's like maybe it's the lawsuit's fault or owners are just stubborn just on what Kaepernick stands for in theory. But I don't know. I just think there's a lot of issues that coaches or owners don't want the quote unquote headache of Colin Kaepernick because of his kneeling for the national anthem and all this other controversies. And also you got to also think about how the fans will react, and that might lead to some bad things. Who knows?
Yeah, I think the AAF, like, I get it. They don't want to pay him that much money, but if they were concerned about the viability of this league, it might be beneficial to do it because people would watch, man. Like, we would all watch Colin Kaepernick play, good or bad, whether we wanted him to fail, whether we wanted him to succeed. We would watch it. For him, there's no benefit in playing for $75,000. He has millions of dollars. Like, the guy has made a lot of money in his career playing football. That's true. And the fact is that why are you going to put your body at risk for $75,000 when you already have that much money in the bank? Now, some of these guys, it makes sense because they're up-and-coming players. They're looking to make a name for themselves. They're looking to do this as a career. So putting their body on the line, putting their health on the line makes somewhat of more sense for them. There's better reward there for them. For Kaepernick, come on, man. $75,000 ain't doing anything for him. You know?
He's got plenty in the bank as of right now, so he doesn't need it.
And like you said earlier, if he does well, it's not going to all of a sudden leapfrog him into an NFL quarterback. Like, nobody's going to be like, oh, well, Colin Kaepernick's really doing a number with the San Antonio Commanders. We're gonna sign him to a 1-year, $10 million deal. Like, that's not happening, in the NFL. So he's not in the NFL for politics. We know this. Good or bad, right or wrong, no matter what you feel. It doesn't matter if you, me, or anybody listening feels that he is right or wrong. The fact is, he's not in the NFL due to politics, period. He's better than a lot of quarterbacks. He certainly could be a starter for a couple teams, at least. He's not because he's not good enough for maybe teams to put up with the off-field stuff, the distraction. I totally understand that. But at the same time, what he does in the AAF will not matter. If he fails, if he's terrible, then his chance of playing in the NFL is done completely. If he's great, I don't think it moves the needle at all. What do you think?
I agree with you. And with that, I think more along the lines of just like, if he is paid that $20 million to say if, I feel like the players a part of the AAF would have a serious issue with it too. And that's not a way to start your league, is have your players unhappy.
Right. Well, Yeah. Look, in the AAF, all players are scheduled to make $75,000 a year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But, sometimes you got to break the rules to sustain a viable league. What if this league goes under after year one? It's possible. It looks good right now, but it's only week one,
Trust me, I totally get that, but I think it's just it's too early to cross that line you made just recently,
Yeah. No, I get it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think, let's be honest, if Kaepernick was playing in the AAF this weekend, we might already watch a game or two because
I enjoyed the first week,
but we would watch it even more. Like this weekend. This weekend, if Kaepernick was playing, you would make it a point to find out what time and make it a point to at least check it out. At least
it would definitely be something everyone would be super interested in. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely how that works. So it's a very what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very you're in a rough place in this situation because you're so early in your league's existence. You really don't want to tick people off or make the wrong decision too early because that could kill you right away.
Maybe it'll be something that the AAF revisits down the road.
Oh, 100%. I think in the next year or two, if Kaepernick's still looking for a job.
What if the ratings are terrible this weekend?
Then they might go into
or
panic.
Next weekend, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks in a row, where the rank, because we know the ratings were really good last week, but that was also because it was new. Where now the question is for the AAF,
but
can
the thing
sustain?
Is, they were being praised a lot last week, not
Big
just
time.
beyond the rating, but just
people
to play.
Liked it.
People did.
Enjoyed
so
themselves.
I think this is going to be fun as well. But I think if it does get to a low point where it's serious, maybe there's a serious problem, then maybe they do their can to get Kaepernick and get other
people,
stars.
Here's the thing. I've seen this. I've seen people say, it's not the same as the NFL. It's not as good.
No, of course it isn't.
We know that. But that doesn't mean people can't enjoy themselves. There are TV shows that you like that are not as good as other TV shows that you like.
I'm sorry. When people are saying it's not the NFL, I'm not going to watch. It's not as good. Then they're just ignorant.
You know what's also not as good as the NFL? College football.
Yeah,
and we love it.
But regardless, it's just that you're comparing.
Somebody's listening to us right now, Jeff, and I was like, "That's not true. College football is way better than the NFL." The real diehard college heads.
What really angers me about that is just they're so ignorant about how they think the AAF is so insignificant compared to the NFL. It is, it's true, but it's not supposed to be something better than the NFL. They've already said they're a developmental league to get to the NFL. So just watch it. It's like watching college. It's exactly like watching college football. The talent may be a little worse, but there are some players that can be greater and get a shot into the NFL. That's what it's for. It's for second chances mostly.
Yeah, no, for sure. It is funny, though, when people say stuff like that. Well, it's not as good. Well, who cares? What else is not as good?
You don't watch bad movies because you think they're good. You watch them because you're entertained because of how bad they are. Yeah. I'm not comparing, out they're bad. I'm not saying that AAF is, terrible, but I'm just saying.
Lasagna is also not as good as pizza, but you can like both.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes something doesn't taste very good, but it's good for you.
Somebody out there just got real pissed off, too. Somebody's like, I love lasagna. How could he say that? How could he put lasagna behind pizza?
Should we just get fired? Should we just leave right now? I think we just got fired.
Hot dogs are disgusting, though. I won't back down.
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
In certain situations, hot dogs are delicious, sir. So
they can taste good, but it's still disgusting. You know what I mean?
Oh, what they're actually made of course, but I'm still eating them.
It's probably the worst meat a person can eat.
I'm just eating mainly eggs, fruit, and vegetables at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
Okay, I know this is going off topic, but I've never understood our culture's love of hot dogs. I've never understood that. Hamburgers are great. Hamburgers at a barbecue are amazing.
Some hot dogs taste unreal.
There are other sausages that are pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got a point. Now I'm hungry. Thank you for this. Mm-hmm. But regardless, I think it's one of those things in where
linguiça is good. Polish.
It's an American. It's when you think of America, hot dogs kind of go hand in hand now, so that's how it kind of got
But
so
it's
popular.
not even American. It's from Germany.
Well, it's now well, the hot dog, a sausage is probably
A
made.
Frankfurter.
Yeah, that's German, but the term hot dog is like an American thing now.
I get it.
So
we bastardized the hot dog.
yeah, I guess so. But regardless, it's still delicious.
Mm-hmm.
If you asked 100 people, do they like hot dogs? I'm gonna say 96 say yes.
No, 96?
Mm-hmm.
No, I know so many people that don't like hot dogs. Are you kidding me?
Well, you are not friends with good people.
I'm friends with great people.
I'm totally kidding. I have no idea who you're friends
you're
with.
right, man. I'm friends with great people.
But God, way to save that. But I think it's more on the long lines of just like when you ask 100 football fans, 96 will say they like hot dogs.
I'd say 96 will say they like hamburgers.
I hate the word hamburger, by the way. Cheeseburger sounds much.
Hamburg, man.
I know, but cheeseburger sounds a lot more appetizing than hamburger to me.
Well, it's the same thing. Just one has cheese on it, but it's still a hamburger at the core.
Honestly, cheese makes it so much better.
Sure.
Honestly, just a plain hamburger by itself is not very good to me, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, it's a plain hamburger or a plain hot dog. What are you eating?
I mean a plain hot dog.
Ew.
I love plain hot dogs.
Yeah, you would.
I honestly don't really like
You're that kind of dude. Like, you're that kind of dude. You're the guy that would eat a plain hot dog over a plain hamburger.
I don't really like the ketchup and mustard on my hot dog, but if I had to, I'm not saying I had to. I sometimes put on. I sometimes put mustard on it, but I'm very okay with
the
just
only
plain
way
hot
that
dog.
a hot dog is decent enough to eat is with
We've been
mustard.
talking about this for I think for 15 minutes.
But you got to have brown mustard and onions to do it right. Ketchup on a hot dog is disgusting. That's all I'm going to say.
Some people like it. I understand.
Oh, I know a lot of people like it. Some
It's
people
just-
like
it's a
ketchup
thing.
on macaroni and cheese too, and that's disgusting.
What?
Yeah.
Who? Patrick Mahomes?
No. Did he?
Or-
He said.
He said
ketchup on
he.
a steak,
I
right?
think he said ketchup on everything.
But ketchup's gross.
Who do you know that puts ketchup on mac and cheese?
I will be the first one to tell you that ketchup is disgusting.
But tell me who's the one that puts ketchup on mac and cheese?
You want to know a fun fact about ketchup?
You
before we
better.
go to
You're avoiding the question.
Fun
Who is
fact
it?
about
Who is
ketchup
this
before
horrible
we go to
human?
a
No.
break.
You tell me who does
There
this.
is more sugar in a tablespoon of ketchup than there is an entire chocolate chip.
You're
cookie.
still avoiding my question. Who is this person
Who what?
that eats mac and cheese with ketchup?
There's just a lot of people that do. What do you mean?
There's not one person I know in the world that does that. Who is this terrible
Well,
person
there's
you know?
definitely people in sports that have come out and said that they've done it, but there's millions of people that like.
Well,
ketchup
they
and
don't
mac and cheese.
deserve to eat mac and cheese ever again. That's just terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I don't know why people like things they do. They just do. So we should go to a break. When we
I'm
come
offended
back,
right now.
When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the AAF this weekend. Adam Silver possibly becoming the NFL's next commissioner, and much more in football.
All right, we'll see you right after this.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. Just finished talking about food and hot dogs at a football game, and I forget what else we talked about. Colin Kaepernick and his demands against the AAF, and our debate about the word demands also was in there. But regardless, we're moving on. I was planning on thinking about talking about Brandon Marshall and his
let's talk about the
release, but
we didn't talk about the games this weekend for the AAF. You want to do that?
I was going to do that last, but we can do that right now.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. Let's talk about Brandon Marshall.
Well, the veteran linebacker who's been part of that team for years and was part of that Super Bowl team, if I'm not mistaken, has been cut or released, however you want to put it. And my question to you, Mark, is this a bad thing for the Broncos to release a veteran or linebacker like that, a leader on the defensive side?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player, but...
He's a leader, though. That's the main thing.
Sure. I think a lot of it has to do... I mean, he had comments recently, like towards the end of the season, I think it was after the last game, where he said that things haven't been right with the organization the last couple of years, so that probably has something to do with it too. Like, it might just be best for both parties to part ways, but yeah, he's a loss. Like, he's a good player. He's a great player. I don't think he's one of their top 4 or 5 defensive players, but I mean, he'll be missed. Like, they'll have to replace him.
I think he's going to be a big commodity in the offseason free agent market.
You know, I'm not sure what the linebacker market is, so you could be right. I'm not really sure what the talent is.
I
there.
think some just need a veteran linebacker leader type of position, so I think he'll be a great fit for most leagues, for most teams.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, the guy's a decent football player. Like, don't get me wrong. He's definitely, I would say, he's better than average. I don't know how good he is, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say he's a great player. He is getting a little bit older, but no, he could be a decent pickup. Depends on the team, but I do think he could be a good player.
Absolutely. I think he has a ton of potential to help a team out in a win-now kind of situation. So that's how I see it, at least. But regardless, this is a big... I think the Bears... Or not the Bears, excuse me. The Broncos...
You know that Brandon Marshall went to college down the road?
From us?
He went to UNR.
Did he really? Oh, interesting. Anyways... what we were talking about right now is Brandon Marshall, and I feel like the Broncos are just not looking good in this situation, and maybe he's leaving at the right time.
Yeah, their defense looks like it could still be legit, but yeah, who knows, man? I'm not big on this team right now. If Joe Flacco's their starting quarterback next year, I mean, come on,
as
man.
soon as seeing Joe Flacco, I was
big on him.
I don't see them getting near the AFC West, especially with the Chargers and the Chiefs, how they're playing. This just added to a fact like this team is not going to win.
Yeah, Brandon Marshall, he was hurt a lot this year. He only played in 7 games. He had 42 tackles. He did not have a fumble forced recovered, or he had 1 pass defense, no sacks. So I mean, he's not really a playmaker. He has 2 picks in his career. He's only forced 4 fumbles in 8 years. That's not very good. 7 years.
He's more just of a leader. That's how I see him. He just knows how to hype a team up and just
he's been over 100
rally
tackles
a team
3 times, once in the last 3 years. So it might be best for the Broncos actually to part ways with him. But I want to talk about the Steelers are in the news. The Steelers are expected to use the transition tag on Le'Veon Bell. Yeah, what do you think about that? Now, the transition tag is a tool. It's basically a restricted free agent. It basically gives the Steelers the right of first refusal. So if a player
refusal, explain that for the fans.
So if a team offers Le'Veon Bell a contract, the Steelers can match it.
Yeah.
They can match it or let him go.
Which
every team can only use the transition tag once a year on one player. So
I don't know why they would use on Le'Veon. It seems like Le'Veon wants to go.
Well, I think maybe if a team gives him a reasonable contract, that they'll match it. But if it's a outlandish contract, then they'll let him go.
I still think it's time to let him go, or it's going to be.
But what if like the market actually was not that great for Le'Veon Bell? Let's just say we don't know why. Let's just say it was, and a team gave him like 4 years, $25 million. The Steelers would be like, oh, for that amount of money, we'd love to have him.
So he has to sign that contract in theory if that's his first offer.
I don't think.
Can he reject that?
I don't believe he has to sign it.
So he can reject that still and look for other options.
Yeah, he doesn't have to sign it. I'm just saying, like, maybe the market, if it doesn't turn out the thing is, there's no lose for the Steelers here because they're not going to use a transition tag on any of their other players. So it's not like if you use it once a year, you either use it or lose it. So there's no, I guess, risk for the Steelers in using it.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
But we'll see what happens, right?
If they use a franchise tag, I would have been like, okay, now you're just being
No, that
ridiculous.
won't happen.
Obviously.
But they will definitely use, it sounds like, not definitely, but it sounds like they are going to tag him. Obviously, none of this stuff can be official until the league year starts. So, like, even the Flacco trade is all, that could not happen. I mean, that could actually just be taken back because they're still a month away before that can be official.
Yeah. Absolutely. And this is just continuation of the drama that is the Steelers at the moment. Like I saw someone make a joke saying this is like the days of our Steelers, like a soap opera.
Days of our lives, kind of.
Yeah, I thought that was very clever because that's basically how this is going. Like, there's nothing extremely exciting, or like not exciting, but just like everything is going as a drama. Not everyone's at odds. Is there love there secretly? Who knows? But it's just like...
You know what, though? This is part of the reason why everybody loves the NFL. It's because it's in our face all the time, and even the offseason is fun. Like, we have so much to talk about the NFL, and we are... Legitimately, Jeff, right now is the most dead period of the NFL offseason.
And March...
it's still not dead. Like, we talk about it all the time.
Absolutely. But March 13th is where everything's just going to hit the fan right away. It's going to be insane.
Even before that, because the tampering window is open. You can negotiate contracts and
Doesn't
sign...
it feel like it's like tampering window sounds a little suspicious in theory?
Well,
you know what
it's
I mean?
a tampering window because it's legal tampering window.
I know, but it just sounds like it's like something illegal, doesn't it, though?
Yeah, I mean,
that's what it comes to me. That's how it comes off.
Yeah, we associate it with, when a team gets in
Illegal
trouble
activities.
for tampering, it's like, oh, okay.
But obviously it's not because it's a free window.
It's like fraud. There's good. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, Adam Silver. There are rumors that some NFL owners have reached out to Adam Silver to discuss or at least talk about his interest in possibly being the commissioner of the NFL, switching over from the NBA. Now, this is super preliminary. In fact, Adam Silver said he has not even thought about that. But what are your thoughts about that? Do you think that Adam Silver would be a welcomed addition to the NFL?
I think so. I think anyone would have picked Roger Goodell or anyone over Roger Goodell because he's that disliked.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, like if we got, let's say, who's like hated in the world right now? Who's like, okay? How about this? Who's the guy that just got what was it? Guapo? El
Chapo.
El Chapo. That's right.
Guapo means handsome, though.
I don't know that actually.
I don't know
if
you're
El
talking
Chapo was ability to be commissioner, people are like, let's just see what he can do. Just someone besides Roger Goodell. That's how I think.
Chapo
everything.
just got put in prison for good.
That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much disliked Roger Goodell is in the world of the football world.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kevin Durant might be more liked as a commissioner of the NFL.
Yeah, everybody hates Goodell. I personally think he's kind of a scapegoat. Like, I feel like he's in a lose-lose position a lot, but he also doesn't really help himself out. So
he just says the wrong things at the wrong time.
Adam Silver is pretty much universally loved.
He's just laid back. He
NBA fans like him. Not only that, but he's also progressive in terms of like the NBA did not shy away from gambling. Like they got involved with DraftKings right away. Like the NFL was a little bit more rigid when it came to that. The NBA just seems like they're open to different ideas. Plus, the NBA has just been crushing it the last couple of years. I mean, National Basketball Association is getting closer and closer to the NFL in terms of popularity, money, and all that. It's not the same. It's not there yet, but it certainly has surpassed Major League Baseball. It certainly has distanced itself from the other main sports in this country as the number 2 sport behind football. It's still going up. The trajectory is still up for basketball. The game keeps getting more and more popular.
And it helped them that the Super Bowl was such a letdown.
Yeah, and it just is. It is what it is. I mean, I know a lot of people hate the Warriors and hate the, whatever, but they're a draw. They draw people to the game. The game has been growing. It's been growing. It's been growing internationally. The NFL, we know the NFL wants to grow internationally. That's a big thing for the NFL. It's why they play in London. It's why they play in Mexico City. And Adam Silver might be the right guy to be that ambassador. he might be the guy to be the NFL's ambassador to Europe, to other markets where the NFL is really looking to extend into. So I think it's a good idea. If I'm Adam Silver, I listen, obviously, because I think his pay would be increased quite a bit. I don't know what that would look like. But, man, money talks, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all about money. Money, 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 money.
Mm-hmm.
And if Adam Silver were to be the new commissioner of the NFL, I think everyone would be on board with it, though.
Right. All right. We should probably take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a story regarding the NCAA sack leader and why he will not be invited to the Combine. It's a good discussion to have, and we'll talk about it when we return.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We're finishing up the day with some news about the sack leader in the NCAA. So let's go with this. This is your news story, Mark. Go for it.
Yeah, Jalen Ferguson. He is the NCAA sack leader. He will not be allowed to attend the NFL Combine, and the reason is because he got charged and convicted for a simple battery charge when he was a freshman in college.
Okay, first, that's just maybe don't call it a simple battery.
No, that's what it's called.
Oh, it's what? Oh, okay, I thought you were okay. Continue.
No, I'm being literal here.
Okay, granted. I just wanted to make sure so people didn't get the wrong idea.
Yeah, because there's a lot of different battery charges, and some of them are misdemeanors, some of them are felonies, and so on and so forth. So he will not be allowed to attend the Combine. He is the all-time NCAA sack leader. Believe it or not.
All-time.
Mm-hmm.
That's saying something.
He's number 5. The number 5 defensive end on Mel Kiper's big board.
Only number 5?
Well, he played at Louisiana Tech, so
that makes sense.
So he got in a fight in 2015 at a McDonald's. He paid the $189 fine, and that is what's keeping him out. Now, I understand that the NFL does have rules about conduct. In fact, if you've been involved in domestic violence or anything like that, you're not allowed to attend the Combine. But I'm not sure if I've seen this before where somebody was banned for like a small conviction like this. I mean, look, the penalty was a $190 fine. Like he literally didn't have to go to jail. He got convicted of a misdemeanor. What are your thoughts about this? Do you think the NFL is screwing this up? Speaking of Roger Goodell.
And that's where our point is made. Like you talked about Roger Goodell as a scapegoat, and this is probably. Do you think this is his ruling though? At the end of the day,
I'm not sure.
This is a gray area in that situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But do you know what the actual incident was that caused the battery charge?
He got in a fight at McDonald's. That's all that's reported. He probably punched somebody and got arrested. He's a football player, so it's probably hit somebody pretty hard. And
yeah, okay, understandable. Just based off the charge.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been way worse incidences. I hate to use this as an example because of the fact so many people use it, but like
he was allowed, and he did go to the Senior Bowl, and he was asked by many teams about the incident. And he was very
open about it?
Yeah, very open about it. But basically what happened is the NFL just found out about it.
But he's been talking about it.
Right, but the league just found out. Like, the people in power just found out.
Well, they should be a little more incisive about it.
So here's kind of the crappy thing about this. So at the Combine, what the Combine was originally meant for was for players to meet in one area around the country to go through the medical stuff, to go through the physical stuff, right? Well, now any teams that are interested in him will have to go fly him from city to city or go to him to, I guess, get him medically cleared, have them go see their doctors, have them go do whatever.
Which seems like a big issue. That seems like more of a hassle than anything else in theory.
Mm-hmm. And of course, if they want him to see him do some of the drills, they're going to have to do it off-site, and that can be accomplished with a pro day.
I was about to say, so he's going to be eligible for pro days.
This is like, this is kind of like a conversation. Is this fair or foul by the NFL? Like, what do you think about
the
this?
fact that he's been talking about this and been very open about it and not hiding it and knowing he made a mistake shows a lot of character in my mind about it. Like, he owns up to it. That just shows that he's mature about it. And
it happened 4 years ago.
And obviously he's matured by that
we
point.
We all do stupid stuff when we're 18 years old, right?
Yeah. And it seems like he's being very mature about it.
And look, I'm not sitting here saying, like, we've all been charged of battery before. We haven't. But I'm saying, like, in the grand scheme of things, him getting physical with somebody when he was 18 years old, and it wasn't a woman.
We've all gotten into stupid fights.
It wasn't a woman. It wasn't like a morality thing here. Like, we're talking about a fight. We don't know what happened. It could have been over a cheeseburger. I have no clue. But the fact is that he got convicted of a crime where he paid a $190 fine, didn't serve any time in jail.
And he owned up to it.
It was obviously not that big of a deal. Yes, he committed a crime, a misdemeanor. 4 years ago, 18 years old. When you're 18, your brain's not even fully functioned. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, it's just scientifically speaking. And look, man, if he would have hit a woman or if something happened like that, sexual assault, things like that, that's completely different in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But hey, I think the NFL really screwed up. You know why I also believe the NFL screwed this up? Because who is this punishing? Is this punishing him, or is it punishing all the teams that may have drafted him? Because now all these teams have to go out of their way to go talk to this guy.
This hurts him more than anyone else because so it's going to be a gamble of the teams that are going to actually risk the fact to bring him all the way to them to talk to them, do the pro days and stuff.
I don't know if this actually affects his. I don't know if he will drop in the draft because of this.
I don't think so either, but it sounds kind of unnecessary.
It just makes it a pain in the butt for teams to go want to work him
and
out.
that could hurt him in the long run.
Yeah, it could possibly hurt him.
There's going to be some teams that are we're not going to pay to have him come over here.
And we're talking about a guy who's a number 5 defensive end on Kuiper's big board. He's a top 10 defensive end on almost every big board. Also, he is the all-time NCAA sack leader. Now, we're not talking about a guy who might be drafted. This guy's probably going to get picked in the second or third round. This guy's probably going to be...
You can even argue he could have gone in the first round.
Yeah, number 5 defensive end in a heavy defensive end draft. Yeah,
exactly. When you're number 5 on the biggest position,
deepest position, for sure,
you're definitely going to get picked. Maybe not top 10, of course, but top 20. That's not too far off. 15 to 20 overall. That's probably where he's going to end up, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's terrible.
But this probably will end up him being the first pick in the second round, in theory, because of the fact he's kind of getting the short end of the stick on this one. And I think this is this. Obviously, he did get arrested and all this stuff, but yeah, you're right. He did pay a fine. I understand both sides of the story, to be completely honest with you, just based off just criminal actions. But what the NFL has done is a little much.
So Todd Grantham is the defensive coordinator at Florida University of Florida, but he was offered the Bengals defensive coordinator position, which would have obviously seen him coach in the NFL, plus give him a boost in salary. He decides to stay. Is this a blow for Zach Taylor and the Cincinnati Bengals, considering that a defensive coordinator in college said no to a pro job that would have paid him a few $1 million more?
That just sounds like a very Bengals thing, you know? That's like how bad the Bengals are that a guy doesn't want a couple extra $1 million to be part of that organization.
University of Florida did raise his salary to $1.8 million,
but he would have gotten, what, 4 or 5, arguably?
It was a multi-million-dollar offer to become the Bengals defensive coordinator, so yes.
So, yeah, it's basically, I think he's just looking how bad the Bengals are looking for the future and doesn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, do you think that says something about the team, the state of the team right now?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it is.
Their nickname is the Bungles for a reason.
I understand it when it's like an NFL head coach or an NCAA head coach. Like if it's like Nick Saban or Dabo Swinney, like I get why they wouldn't want to go to the pros because they get so much money where they're at now and they're like the king of the castle. When you're a DC in college, you got to think being a DC in the pros would pay.
And not on a
more.
team that was good this year either.
Right.
So that's a bold move on his part. Maybe he has a relationship with the coach and the players he doesn't want to let go, which is understandable as well. But also, it's like there's got to be something he doesn't see in Cincinnati that he wants to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's gone to that point.
Hey, what's on the AAF schedule for week 2?
Well, we got the same amount of games as we had before.
4 games, right? There's 8 teams.
I think there's an undefeated teams facing off.
A game between 2 undefeated teams, so
Ooh.
1 will remain.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. That game is the Orlando Apollos at the San Antonio Commanders. That's on Sunday. Saturday, though, we got the Salt Lake Stallions at Birmingham Iron. The Iron are a 7-point favorite. We got the Hot Shots from Arizona at Memphis Express.
12-point favorites for the Hot Shots.
Big underdog.
One
for
team
the
got
Express.
completely shut out, didn't score a point. The other is supposedly the favorites to win the championship. And Mike Singletary is the head
Sunday,
coach.
Other than the Apollos and the Commanders, the Atlanta Legends are at the San Diego Fleet, and the Fleet are a 9.5-point favorite.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah, Fleet didn't score last week. That's.
Did they have 0 or did?
I thought they had 0. Didn't they? They played that really low scoring game.
They had 6 because only
Did
one
they?
team had 0.
Gotcha.
And that was
it like 13-6 or something like that.
Yes, it was 6 points. Memphis was the only one that scored 0 points, if I'm not mistaken.
The Memphis Express.
Mm-hmm. Which is not a good start for a complete season or a first season as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just how that works.
Yeah.
And but overall.
Will you be watching this weekend?
Oh, I had a lot of fun last week.
We got NBA All-Star Weekend though. Is really the only other thing on?
I had a lot of fun watching the games last week. I really enjoyed myself, to be completely honest with you. So I'm definitely going to watch this week.
So the Hot Shots beat the Stallions 38-22 last week. The Iron beat the Express 26-0. The Apollos beat the Legends 40-6, and the Commanders beat the Fleet 15-6. So, yeah, maybe we're going to see who's the best team between the Apollos and who's at Birmingham. Or maybe the Hot Shots will stake another claim, and maybe they're the best team so far.
They're the best around.
I don't know about that Fleet. I don't know about that score, that 10 points, though. Giving up 10 points if you're the Fleet, I don't even know if they can score 10 points. You know, we haven't seen it yet.
Okay, it's been 1 week.
I know.
Hold the phone.
I know, and their offense was brutal, like absolutely brutal. So, yeah, that might be a little easy making money Trump proposition.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about? But I get what you're saying now.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, I think that's it for our show.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and please tune us in on Monday. We'll have events from the AAF. Hopefully, we'll have some more news regarding anything NFL-wise, free agency-wise, because we did just get word that Antonio Brown refused to make comments to the owner. They were supposed to have a meeting, and he refused to go. So it seems like it's a foregone conclusion that he's no longer going to be a Steeler. Yeah. If he's refusing to meet the owner and all this stuff, it's done. So bye-bye. So we'll see if Antonio Brown has some offers on the table for trade-wise before even allowed to, because, we just heard if Flacco could do it, why not? We can hear about Antonio Brown being a foregone conclusion. So we'll see that on Monday. And as always, I'm Jeff Malinoff, and that's Mark Souza. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.